Hi, Abby. Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
We are so excited.
We
Oh,
are.
here we go. We're so excited for this webinar today, and we're going to give everybody just a few minutes to get logged in. If you can, share with us when you're logged in where you are visiting us from today. Where in this beautiful country are you on Veterans Day?
And that's just in the chat. So we'll be talking you guys through that as well. So yay.
Yep, it always takes a minute. Here we go. Whitney in Nashville.
Oh, hey, Whitney. Whitney. Nashville's representing today. Woo.
I guess so, right? Where I just lost my chat. There we go. Let's see, got a few people hopping in here. Trying to. There we go. Peyton, Nashville. Let us know you guys can hear us by typing in the chat where you're from or just saying hey.
Yeah, we like to see who's all joining so we know throughout today we can kind of call you guys out too, which always helps.
East of Nashville. Oh my gosh. I'm hoping there's somebody from Wisconsin ready to represent for me today. Please. Yay! Jenny from Wisconsin. Oh, Dr. Tinchak. Okay, awesome. Connecticut.
We're all just coming in.
Oh, another team from Wisconsin. Jill's from Wisconsin. Thank you. Thank you. Way to represent. There will be a few people here who understand my accent. That's important. It's definitely Jill's like, I've got you from Wisconsin. So fantastic.
Well, if it helps, my Iowa accent definitely stands out too. So that we got the Midwest happening right now.
I occasionally get asked if I'm from Canada.
North,
I don't feel like I sound quite Canadian, but then when I hear myself in recording, I can hear it. I can hear it back a little bit. So I'm gonna get my screen shared while we get everybody logged in.
Hey, Sylvia! Yay!
And put this in pretty view here. All right. And let me just get my chat up so I can see what's going on. All right. Hopefully everybody can see this. All right. Sounds great, guys. Everybody ready to talk about case acceptance? I know it's a hot topic. It's always a thing that we're working on in offices, right? It's always something that we look at as something that can be improved, but I also think that sometimes team members feel like it's kind of a, it is what it is metric, right? That it's a thing that we do our best. Some people just won't do this dentistry. People only want to do what their insurance covers. You know, people can't afford dentistry. People don't value their teeth. They don't want to spend money on dentistry. These are the things I hear all the time. And the good news is I'm here to assure you that it is a metric we can improve. It is a thing we can get better at as a team. And there's lots of facets to it. There's no single magic bullet to improving our case acceptance, but there are some relatively simple things that we can address and get moving as a whole team, as a whole culture that can make this different. And so the thing that I always like to mention to people when it talks about case acceptance is that sometimes there is a weird aversion in dentistry to selling dentistry, right? If we are talking about money or numbers, sometimes there's this very weird reaction, like we don't want to push things on people. We don't want to sell dentistry. We don't want to be a numbers-driven practice. These are all sort of responses that I hear when I initially talk about this. And I guess what I like to say is that most of the practices that I work with are presenting needed or necessary treatment. It's most of the treatment that we diagnose and present in a dental office day to day is active decay or a tooth about to break. It's stuff that people really would benefit from having done. And so when I see low case acceptance, what that means to me is we have patients not getting cared for. We have patients not receiving the care that they probably want, and that we need to help them figure out how to do it a little bit better. So Without any further ado here, let me get my slides moving forward. I am Genevieve Poppe. If you don't know me, I have been in dentistry a really long time. Today I have good lighting and Botox, but longer than that would show you. I've done everything from dental assisting to owning and managing 7 dental offices. And the main things to really know about me are these things. I'm a customer service maniac. I'm neurotic about it. I'm an enthusiastic change agent, which not everybody appreciates about me initially. I am a new patient whisperer. I've pretty much mastered the new patient phone call, and I'm also an EOS implementer, meaning I've done some special training around helping things stick and helping build accountability and a culture of achievement in dental offices. So all that said, the first most important thing that I feel like I need to address when it comes to our culture of case acceptance, right? Not just the skill of case acceptance, is a negative landscape that is developing amongst dental people. And it's been going on for a long time, but social media makes it, I think, just a little bit easier to gain validation around. So historically, even pre-Facebook, dental publications, dental articles were kind of constantly talking about price shoppers and insurance-driven patients. And we label people with sort of big labels because we're not good at helping them move past those objections. But now we're able to, as a community, sort of seek out this negative validation where we complain about our patients on Facebook. And I want to caution you that this in and of itself, this simple little kind of fun venting that we do on Facebook where we complain about our patients and how stupid they are for not knowing about their insurance is inherently destructive to a culture of case acceptance, because it's very hard to vent and be snarky about these things some of the time, but then be genuinely invested in helping people the other part of the time. And inevitably, this sort of sinks into our psyche and what we believe about people as they walk up to us. And so when I see things like this, where, our team members are taking to Facebook annoyed with patients who don't understand treatment or who don't understand insurance, it worries me a little that we're not only about the approach we're taking, but the way the beliefs we're forming about our patients. And so this is one that really bothers me, because this is the type of post that gets posted at the beginning of every year. This was a post where we're making fun of people who don't know their insurance changed. And what's remarkable about this post to me is not that it's not like true or maybe even a little funny. We have this happen to us all the time, but look what happened. It got shared over 5,000 times.
Yeah.
It feels good to be validated about snarky things. And I say this not in a preachy way at all, because I am a fully admitted recovering snarkaholic. I had to really evaluate this in myself and understand how this impacts me and watch how it impacts other people. And so I'm naturally sarcastic. I have a sarcastic, snarky sense of humor. But I caution you against applying that to the patients that we're privileged to care for. And it can be more destructive to the overall process of case acceptance than you might realize.
That's so interesting too. Sorry, Genevieve.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Too. Just because one of our core values here is you have to educate your audience and innovate the solution. So if you're educating them with negative information, you're adding to that bad tone of insurance and bad tone of money with case acceptance. That's so interesting that we could even be part of that messaging.
Yeah, we really contribute to it more than we realize.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will post things like that on their public Facebook feed. This is not even just in a group, because they have a lot of dental friends. But then just our other friends who aren't dental people are seeing that sort of messaging from us. I'm not trying to be preachy. I just encourage you to watch your own involvement in it. Because the way that comes back through are when I hear things like this in a dental office, things like, we hate insurance, or these people only do what their insurance covers. These people don't care about their teeth. These people just want it pulled out. These people are, only looking for the cheapest price. And these are Google patients and they're bad patients. Anytime we attach a big belief about a group of these people, we're in trouble. And sometimes when I say this and I'm in offices, I'll get team members that will say to me, well, that's nice. Maybe in Wisconsin, that's how it is. And while I can attest, as can many other people in our chat, that people from Wisconsin are nice, I can also assure you that as I work with offices around the country, I don't find a population of these people anywhere. They don't exist. Every patient is their own individual situation. And if we can learn to detach judgment from the first question a patient asks us, we are going to be in a lot better place in terms of helping them receive dental care. So I assure you, there are no these people in your community. These are things we do because we hit the same result with the same types of situations over and over again, because we don't know how to do it differently. That validates our initial belief, and then we say these things. And so the first real step in a culture of case acceptance is to check your negativity, to check your judgment about the things that patients ask us about insurance and about price. That said, new mindset, new results, right? I can give you new verbiage, new techniques, but it's really our mindset, it's our ability to think about it differently that fundamentally changes our ability to implement some of these things a little bit differently. So the number one thing I can tell you today, if you take one thing away from chatting with me or visiting with us today, is the idea of positive assumption. Practicing the very tricky habit of positive assumption really changed like the course of my life as a manager, as a communicator, but certainly as a treatment presenter. And I teach people verbiage. I teach a lot of that type of skill when I'm coaching in offices, but I can tell you 90% of what I have going for me when I present a treatment plan is that I totally believe they're going to do it. It might be more than 90%. I can give you words to say, but if you don't believe they're going to do it, you will not present it with an energy or a belief or a presence that helps people to accepting care.
Exude that energy for them to actually act. Otherwise, you're for them. Yeah.
The number one thing you can do to have more treatment acceptance is believe that people will do it. I really, really, really believe that most people presenting treatment plans, at least from the fee and insurance level at a front desk, are trained to think about this kind of the wrong way, or they're prepared for people to say no so much that they present as though people are going to say no. And I watch them do it. So they'll say, they'll sort of slide that treatment plan across the desk, and I can see just in their entire body language, it's almost like, here's how much it is, let us know if you want to do it. It feels very tentative. So getting that skill of like, I call it how, not if, right? I'm not talking to a patient thinking, if they want to do this, I'll get them scheduled. I'm thinking, how am I going to help them do this? And that's the shift that you need to make in terms of assuming that they're going to.
And like you said earlier, it's not only the confidence, but you're helping them and having that attitude of like, this is the product to help you. This is how I'm going to ensure your oral health, like having that mindset and making you'll feel better about doing it. And you should, like, you're benefiting the patient. This is value to them. They can
bingo
their smile. They might be in pain. Like,
yes.
Why take that away from them? Make them feel good about their decision.
It's exactly true. We're helping people, right, proceed with care that they want and need. And if you can feel like that, instead of like, I'm making this person spend $800,
right?
You will feel very different, not only in presenting it, but you'll feel good about it when they do it. It's fundamentally more rewarding to make that mindset shift.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So let me tell you where this starts, right? We have conversations with our existing patients, but some of the biggest opportunities for case acceptance, meaning our big fish or our big cases, the stuff we spend a lot of money marketing to generate, is lost before it ever even walks in the door on our first phone call. And I don't have time to get on my pedestal today about your new patient phone call, but everybody who knows me knows that this is near and dear to my heart. And I just want to point out that we require a lot of training to touch this fancy stuff in our office. And we require 99% of offices 0 training to pick up the phone and represent our practice. Oftentimes, it's actually the job we give to the least experienced, least qualified person to do it. I watch teams all the time saying, oh, if we could just hire somebody to answer these phones. They feel like the phone call is an interruption to the thing they think they're supposed to be doing, like posting checks or calling an insurance company. And really, it's quite the opposite. Doctors on the call, I'm just going to tell you, you should position it so that answering your phone is a promotion, not an entry-level job. There is nothing that will grow your practice faster and set you up for good case acceptance better than a person who knows how to do this well. It's very important. If you are a practice in growth mode, not taking a look at this is it's a really big blind spot in a lot of offices. So when I say, are you prepared for tough questions? Like most new patient phone calls start with something like, do you take my insurance? Or how much is an implant? How much is a crown? They start with either a price or insurance question a huge percentage of the time. And when I talk to people about being prepared for the tough questions, I am not talking about being prepared with a fancy answer. And I think that's what we look for in dentistry, which is to have some all-encompassing answer that could cover everything that a person might mean with a single question. I watch dental teams put a lot of pressure on themselves to have the perfect answer here, and they don't want to look stupid. And really, the idea that I want people to know is that it's not the answer necessarily that brings people in. Because if you answer that question immediately, you're answering it full of assumption. So typically when I hear, and I listen to a lot of recorded phone calls, this is a really fun part of my life. And we could do a whole webinar on what I hear on your phones. But typically when I hear a new patient call, they ask one of these questions. We provide some sort of clever answer like, we participate with all insurance companies, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't even matter what you say from there. What the patient hears is no. And in most cases, the call is over. It doesn't even move on from there. And if it does, then we very often move straight to gathering a whole bunch of information, your birth date, your group number. It becomes a very informational exchange instead of a conversation.
Yeah.
And so really what I like to teach teams to know about a phone call is to remember this one thing. I believe that most team members are trained to pick up the phone and answer questions. That's what they've been taught to do. That's what they believe that job is supposed to do. That's actually literally what they've been taught to do. And sometimes with a lot of focus put on the answers. But the reality is that people aren't calling to take market research and create a spreadsheet of who charges what for implant components. That is not what people are doing. And I know that that's what we like to believe about price shoppers, is that they're just calling around for the cheapest price. And I can promise you that is not true. They're not going to, they could call every dentist in town and they're not going to find a difference that's that significant. What they are calling for is to make an appointment. That's what they want to do. The goal of this phone call is to end with making an appointment. What they are calling for when they're asking about price is to find somebody that understands them, listens to them, and assures them that we have the solution. And this is important, that we can help them fit it in their budget. That's it. And I think we go way too far in thinking that this is an opportunity to exchange information, and it's not. It's an opportunity to listen to a person, create assurance for them, and provide them with a solution. So again, while I teach people words and how I say these things on the phone, I really truly believe that it's more important to know how to feel about a phone call than it is to know exactly what to say to a person. Even if you just pick up the phone and the next time a person says, how much is an implant? Instead of saying, well, we don't technically place the implants in our office, the oral surgeon would place that, but we do restore it above the gum line. So once you get that in, da, 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 which sounds like I can't help you, right? Right. And I hear that, I'm not kidding, I'm not even exaggerating. I hear this over and over and over again because that's what they've been trained to say, not because they're bad people. We think in dentistry that we're being helpful by giving information. Instead, if you could, next time you heard that question, if you could say, well, let's see if we can figure that out for you. Tell me about this implant you need. Oh, right? Like, yeah. That person's going to land with me, I promise you.
Right.
Nobody else, every person who needs an implant has a story to tell you about it. Something is going on with it. Yeah. Right. And so to not be able to open up and engage with that person's story before we feel the need to educate them about why they maybe shouldn't choose us, like is just so backwards. But that's what happens. It's how it's always been done. It's how it continues to happen. So these are my phone call and a few simple steps. I know I can't go too far into this. If you can break a phone call into a framework instead of a script where you welcome a person, thank you for calling. They'll say, how much is an implant? You say, let's see if we can figure that out. Tell me about this implant you need. We're in connection. I listen to them. I'm a proponent of providing a ballpark. I know some people cringe at that. I can't tell you the number of new patient inquiries that I would call big fish, people who need a lot of dental work that are lost because our teams refuse to give them any idea of price. And when we do that, they feel like it's too much for you to even tell me. That's the feeling they have. It's so much that you can't even say it over the phone. And so I'm a proponent that after you listen to a person, not that you give them a quote, but that you give them a ballpark. And by ballpark, I mean huge, right? So Jim, based on what you're telling me, I can tell you that implant cases like this can be anywhere from $4,500 to $12,000. You know, it's really hard for me to tell without seeing you in person. Why don't we do this? Let's get you in to see Dr. Smith. He'll help us figure out a more specific price on this. And then I'll work with you to help fit that in your budget. How does that sound? And if you can have price calls that sound like that, I promise you, not only will you have more new patients, but you will have patients that are ready to come in and spend money to get that done, because they're not looking for the lowest price. They're looking to, one, understand, is this in their universe of possibility? And two, can you help them figure out how to do it? That's it.
Yeah.
And so
I want to trust you that you're going to take care of me. So that's,
yes.
Oh my, you're like, listen, you've sold me. Like,
you want to come get an implant with me, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
The thing is, we are so, I hear people, because we hit the same walls over and over again, it almost becomes like these things that we're used to hitting rejection with, we just throw them up to almost get them out of the way. A good example is just the other day, I listened to a phone call where a woman called and said, do you guys do ortho? She's actually said, do you guys do ortho? And the girl said, we do, but it's Invisalign, which is not a very encouraging answer. And then the woman said, okay, well, I'd like to get braces for me and my daughter. Do you guys have payment plans? And she said, we do, but it's care credit. And like everything this woman asked, she responded almost as though the answer was a problem. Yeah. And ultimately lost a phone call of a woman looking to spend about $12,000 on Invisalign.
Yeah.
And I think if you asked her, she thinks she's being helpful to just give this information, just to make sure they know it. And to me, being helpful would have been to help that woman figure out how to get her and her daughter started in Invisalign, you know? And so it's that shift, and it's to not feel so combative is what it almost feels like it's us against the caller. It's to feel like a little bit easy, listen to people, let them talk about themselves. I promise you, if you can do that on the front half of a call, the solution is much more apparent. And when people do come in, they're not just accepting you as a new patient on the phone, they're coming in ready to proceed with treatment. And so don't underestimate that new patient phone call in terms of the role or the idea of a culture of case acceptance. It really does start there. This little slide here is just something I always throw out here that I think sort of sums up what I'm trying to say. And it's this concept of warmth versus competence. In dentistry, and this goes into the fee presentation and overall treatment presentation. In dentistry, we, I believe, lead a lot with competence. We lead with the idea that if we inform people enough, if we educate people, that's what will cause them to accept treatment. That's what will help them proceed. So I watch clinical people do it in terms of educating about the dental stuff. I watch front desk people do it in terms of educating about insurance. And what really needs to happen before any of that is important to a person is that they have to like you. And we don't focus on that first. We think that people will like us because we're helpful with information. And it's really kind of backwards. People like us when they talk about themselves. It's that simple. And it's also that hard because we're it's so far away from what we're trained to do that you have to be consciously thinking of opening up an open-ended conversation with people early in your conversations, early in your relationship, that rapport is established before you bring your information to the table. And so while it's a concept most people like and can wrap their head around in practice and doing it, they find it a little bit tricky. 2 simple things that will help you get that going in your phone call. One is to put a pin in that first question or put a hold on that first question when a person calls in a non-evasive way. So if they say, do you take Delta Dental or do you take Blue Cross Blue Shield? I just say something that sounds like, let's check on that for you. What's your name? Instead of, let me answer this whole question with a whole bunch of assumption about why you might be asking it. If I'm answering the phone in Wisconsin, I'd probably say, oh, sure, let's take a look. What's your name? So it shouldn't sound formal. Yeah. It should sound like you would talk, right? It should sound normal, not evasive. The very next thing is to open up a conversation. My trick to do that is some version of tell me. So tell me what we need to get you in here for. Tell me about this implant you need. Tell me what you have in mind for your first visit. Things like that. We are so wired to give yes, no questions so we can stay in control. My best quick example of this is when a patient breaks a tooth. What we do is, instead of say, tell me what happened, Abby, we say, where is the tooth? Is it upper, lower, right, left? Is it third from the back? Is it fourth from the back? Is it a big tooth or a little tooth? Is it sharp to your tongue? Is it sensitive to cold? And we gather all this information. Some people's intake sheets have like 27 boxes of yes, no questions that we're supposed to ask. And I want to just let you guys know, as a team, whatever your seat is, when that patient comes in, I assure you we can figure out which tooth it is in about 3 seconds. It's one of 32 teeth. We can see its condition pretty quickly. What would be most valuable for our patient relationship is to be able to walk in the room and say, a little birdie told me you broke this thing eating a grilled cheese sandwich. That is more valuable to that appointment than you walking in saying, I understand you broke a tooth on the upper left. That is not really that significant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Yes, that is the information. So, if you can get those 2 things going for you, and you can push your conversation in a different order, in a different direction, and inherently provide better answers and better solutions for people. And just, if you don't listen to your new patient phone calls, if you don't even record your new patient phone calls, message me, get in touch with me. I would love to share with you some easy ways to do that, because it's really important to hear what those things sound like. In terms of case acceptance barriers, right, the things that stand in our way from the other stuff in person, there's a few places this comes in. It's our doctor's ability or comfort in presenting treatment to begin with. It's our clinical team's comfort in answering questions and supporting the recommended treatment when the doctor leaves the room. And then it's our admin team's comfort and skill in presenting fees and options and talking about money. So for my doctors, for my clinicians, my hygienists, this is the word that I see as a big obstacle in terms of overall treatment presentation, and it's the word need. And by that, what I find, I'm lucky enough to have a pretty candid and pretty close relationship with a lot of the doctors that I work with. And they will tell me over time that the longer they know their patients, the more they believe or see that people don't want to do some treatment, it does inherently impact the way they diagnose. And they don't, it's unintentional, it happens over time. But what we'll do as clinicians is look at things and say, do they really need that? Right? Do they absolutely need this thing? And if you could instead just look at this mouth and ask yourself the question, would this tooth or would this person benefit from treatment? Would this crown be better off with a crown? And that's just a very simple one-off thing. If we're looking at a tooth, there's a lot of room for argument in terms of need. You could argue it doesn't need it until the day it breaks, right? But if you could ask yourself, would this tooth be better off from treatment? The only thing I will tell you is that I sometimes see doctors, and I've worked with doctors as a treatment coordinator, where they thought they were being helpful and being very conservative in their diagnosis. But then what happens is inevitably, you have patients who are now 72 years old, and we're telling them that they need 8 crowns. Every molar in your mouth is cracked and broken, or on its way to it. And very often those patients will say to me, gosh, I wish I would have known about this when I wasn't on a fixed income. Or gosh, I wish I would have known about this when I still had some insurance to help me out. And I know that the intentions of that provider were to delay this work until it was needed. But I can also tell you that we probably could have looked at those teeth over the last 10 years and had a pretty good idea this was coming for this patient. And so if you can be comfortable in just talking about what's possible, what you might benefit from, making a plan for, opening up conversations that way, and just putting that thinking in your head makes it a lot easier to approach. And it makes most doctors feel a little bit less like they're pushing anything, or removes that sort of fear of rejection or conflict that sometimes gets in the way from a clinical standpoint. The other thing that I'll hear all the time, both from clinicians and from front desk team members, are these statements, right? That people only do what their insurance covers, or that all their patients want a pre-auth. And I can tell you for sure that we taught patients the word pre-auth, and we teach them this thinking. So no patient walks into an office and says, hey, do you guys do pre-auths here? Those are not words that people, or pre-Ds, like those are not words that normal people know. Those are only words that dental people know until we teach them to our patients. And I just want to point this out because I don't think a lot of people realize that where this tends to happen in an office is very often there's a really weird moment that happens between the time the doctor says, I think we should do this, and the time they walk up front, which is the doctor leaves and the assistant or hygienist that's left there says, the patient will say something like, oh, that sounds expensive, right? Or they'll just say something that's a side comment, which, by the way, doesn't mean I absolutely am not going to do this, but our high empathy, conflict averse caretaker types, which is most of the dentistry, will say something like, you know what? We can check on your insurance coverage and figure out exactly how much they're going to pay. So they're setting us up before they even walk up to us. I watch it happen all the time. Hey, Jill, Bill needs a crown on number 3. He wants a pre-auth. I'll watch that handoff happen over and over again. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that you're bringing that to the front desk dead. That's already over. We're now making insurance the deciding factor. I will also see patients walk to the front desk where we say something like, yeah, Bill needs a crown. It's too expensive. He doesn't want to do it right now. Done. Oh gosh. It's over.
Yeah.
This kid's killed. So if you are a front desk treatment coordinator, office manager, anybody who's in the position of presenting this on the front end, and you are getting that in your handoff, please bring that to your next team meeting. Please talk about how that can be done differently, because you know and I know that it's over at that point. And no matter what you say from there, you're not likely to really gain acceptance on this. And even, Abby, if they have a perfect follow-up system, which you're going to talk about, it was already sort of killed before they left the office, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you really got to work for it now.
Yeah, now good luck with the video you can make that is going to help overcome that, right?
Right, exactly.
So
or hopefully forget over time.
Exactly.
Just block it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to ask people, really, who has the insurance mindset? Is it really our patients that have the insurance mindset, or is it us that is so worried about what people think about their insurance that we are creating an insurance mindset? And I would argue it's the latter, right? I'd like to really help people understand this. I think, especially in offices, it's really weird. It's not just you would think that this is just common in offices that are all in network with insurance. But I actually watch offices that are completely out of network with insurance obsess over the role of insurance. Our industry really has come to believe that our role is to explain insurance. But our role is not to explain insurance. Our role is to help people receive care and get what we can out of insurance. And those are two very different positioning, but we position this wrong for our teams. If you really think about this, if you think about the way we frame the primary responsibilities of those roles, the way we train our team members, the way we promote and encourage team members, it's for being good at insurance. We'll hire people because they're good at insurance, because they're good at Dentrix. And that is actually not the skill that helps the most patients receive care. Being good at helping people find a way to proceed is the skill that we should be hiring for. So going back, and I know I'm running into your time, Abby, so I'm going to let you take over here. My biggest tips to get better at this are, again, circling back to that positive assumption, believing when they walk up to your desk, believing in the chair that they want to do what you recommend, believing when that doctor leaves the room that, you know, we can help them figure this out up front. And when you're up front, believing that we totally have options to help this person proceed, right? That they want to. I don't really see a lot of patients walking up front who are just like, absolutely, I don't want to take care of anything. That's actually an unusual scenario to observe. So if we can believe that they want to and present in a way that helps them move forward and assumes they're going to move forward, just that will increase our case acceptance. I like to do the words, let's do this, right? This is something I can send you guys if you want it. This is sort of my whole treatment acceptance process. Please don't underestimate the power of the handoff, how that's brought up, meaning not dead, right? Our own need to have some connection before we start talking about needs and prices. But the two main things that I watch really stand in people's way are money, our belief that people won't spend it. And a lot of times that's tied to our own beliefs about money. For a lot of people in the seat of treatment coordinator, the amounts they're asking patients for are amounts that are a lot to them, based on, you know, what they make in that seat. You know, asking somebody to spend $3,500 feels like more cash than maybe they would feel comfortable coming up with. So there's a belief barrier. Then also there is the way we explain it barrier. So most offices have a payment plan, a care credit or some version of that we offer up as a last resort and almost as though it's a problem. Like we do, you know, we don't really do payment plans, but we do have care credit. That is a payment plan, right? So care credit is a payment plan, as are any of those other things. When people say payment plan, this again, it's our assumption. That doesn't mean they're a cheap patient who can't afford dentistry and they just want to pay us 25 bucks a month. That's the thinking that we attach to it. What they're saying is there a way I can break this up over time? The other thing that I really encourage people to offer differently about payment plans is letting go of our belief that people will only do 12-month interest-free payment plans. You know, when people go to buy a car, they don't say, hey, you can pay us in full or you can pay us in 12 equally unaffordable payment chunks. You know, that's not how they do it. People go and buy cars and they basically say, this is the payment I can afford. They're not even talking about the price of the car anymore. So if you can get over the idea that people want 12 months interest free and understand that people really want an affordable payment, use the extended options. It's cheaper for your office. It's helpful to your patient, and say, hey, you know, we can break this down into really affordable monthly payments. What's something you'd be comfortable with? You would be amazed at where the conversation goes because you're just invested enough to be in a solution focused place for them, not just presenting information about care credit. Here's a brochure, go online, see if you want to do it. That is not going to bring anybody to the table. My final little bit that I need to talk about before I hand this over to you, Abby, is the words estimated patient portion, because there's really nothing you will see people complaining about more in dental groups is the fact that they explained estimated patient portion and that they know they told the patient estimated patient portion. We all know it's our patients who get a bill for $17 that are the most angry at us. And a little bit, it's because of the way we talk about estimated patient portions. Clearly, the way we're doing this is not working for us. And if you are answering the phone about people's bills, you know that this isn't working for us. People are calling all the time saying, I paid my portion when I was there. And I first of all, I want you to know, I believe you. I know that you said estimated patient portion. The problem is that's not what they heard. That's not what they took away. And I can tell you where I watch this, why I think this happens, is that very often when we present the treatment, we say, this is your estimated patient portion, right? This is what your estimated portion is. To which people are hearing, this is my portion. And then when they check out for today, they say, okay, today is $87. That's what we say at the checkout desk. Today is $87. But today wasn't $87. Today was $587. and their estimated portion is $87, but that's not what they're hearing. And that's not what we're saying in almost every case. So today's $87 and people hand their card, they pay us. And when they get that bill, they're mad. I think it's really important that not just at the presentation, but also at the time we collect, that it sounds something more like, okay, today's $587. Looks like your insurance is going to kick in a really nice chunk of this. I'm going to have you take care of $87 today. And then whatever's left over after insurance pays me, I'll settle up with you then. How does that sound?
Oh my
To
gosh.
which people will say, that sounds great. And they'll gladly pay me $87. And they won't be mad when they get a bill for a little bit more because I've already set the expectation that that's likely to happen. This takes so much pressure off our ability and need to present an exact patient portion. So much time and energy goes into that, and we're wrong anyway. Every time, almost. So if you could have patients who are understanding the total, comfortable with it, paying what we ask them to pay this time, we'll settle up with whatever's left over. When they get a bill and it's 17 compared to 587, it just doesn't feel like that much. And they just pay it because they're not calling you saying, what is this for? It's really magic. I promise you it will work. And I can send you this information if you'd like it. This is the basic verbiage that I like to use. We way over-explain insurance at the time of fee presentation. So I like to say something that's like, the total for that crown on the upper right is $1,500. It looks like your insurance should help us out with about $800. So I'm going to ask you to take care of $700 when you come in next time, and then I'll bill you for whatever your insurance doesn't pay. How does that sound? And they will probably say, that sounds fine. Or they might say, $700 is kind of a lot. And then I got it flushed out. I know what the problem is, right? I can help them with a solution. So the phrase, how does that sound, is not to be underestimated on the tail of that statement. A lot of times I'll watch people present something that's a lot of information, and then they'll say, do you have any questions? To which most patients cannot formulate a smart or good question. And then they leave and they really have a thing they're feeling, but they didn't say it and they didn't schedule. It turns into, I'll think about it. And so adding a how does that sound and being prepared to validate whatever that response is and provide a solution is really the key to having that part of things go differently. Most people are familiar with feel, felt, found, but that's the thing to be prepared with in following that. How does that sound? So this is where I come to you, Abby. The missing piece in a lot of offices in terms of treatment acceptance is follow-up. In my impression, it's that teams feel like I already gave them the information. If they wanted to do it, they would do it. I don't want to bother them. That's their fear in making those follow-up calls, is that they're bothering people. And I would love for people to sort of come to feel differently that way, but also learn from you about some of the things that can be done in an automated way and the way that it can be personalized with video and things that are helping people not only understand, but feel, have some level of like emotional connection to your office and that process as well. So before I turn slides over to you, I am just going to, let's see here, trying to launch a poll. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, as you were doing that, that's a big thing too. It's just not, is you guys know the common concerns that are coming up. You know the barriers, you know what they're going to bring up. So to your very point, when you ask that, how does this sound? And they ask follow-up questions, I'm sure when they go home, they're going to have more. So having those kinds of, and I'm going to show you this, having these type of communications happen when you leave and already answering those questions. So maybe they didn't even think of it at the time. You're pre-answering those questions for them, which can be super beneficial for you. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm just popping up a quick poll. If you guys want me to send you my new patient intake sheet, which is a little bit more information about that new patient side of things, or that verbiage about fee presentation, I have both of those kind of wrapped up in a PDF. Just click yes, please, and I am happy to get that emailed to you after today. So just let me know if you'd like it, and I won't bother you if you don't want it. Give just a few more seconds, and then I'm going to hand the slides over to you.
Yes. Oh, such great thing. I know Michelle was saying that this is the best takeaway and she's really excited. So, woo.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for your interest in the materials. I will get those sent out to you. If the poll's not working for you for whatever reason, you can also chat me or email me later. All right, let me get this ended here. And I will, let's see. Okay, sorry, minimize this. Bear with me, guys.
You're fine.
I am trying to get the poll down. All right, I'm going to stop my slide share here and let you take over with your much prettier slides.
Okay, I'm gonna pull mine up, guys, and we're gonna jump in. I'm gonna give you some secrets. Ooh, here we go. Okay, perfect. So yes, Genevieve, you have provided all the information that is necessary for inside the office to present and have those conversations, those tough conversations, but most importantly, to make sure that you're providing a solution to the patients and look at it that way with a different mindset. So these 5 secrets are going to help you increase case acceptance with value-driven communication. So you guys can take these home and implement them today, or instead of home, I should say, to the office. So yes, we'll just dive in. I'm Abby. If you guys don't know me, I am with High Five Practice. I've worked with High Five Practice for over 6 years. I'm one of the OGs here at High Five. I know that all of what I'm going to give you, I know it works because I've helped develop these effective workflows through patient communication softwares to help increase case acceptance. I'm very proud to say that out of my clients as a client success manager, I've retained 87% of my clients. So I know how to communicate and make sure that you're being effective and retain. And then also have helped hundreds of practices about our lifetime patient formula. And we'll talk a lot about this as we go on, but our lifetime patient formula is what we believe at High Five Practice. If you're not aware of High Five Practice, we focus on your current patient base and in order to grow your practice from the inside out. So we believe truly in the value of your current patients and utilizing them and educating them in order for them to act so you can grow and hit your production and collection numbers. We know that this formula works in the things that I give you because we've retained 100% of our clients during COVID pandemic, which is an amazing thing that we like to brag about because that is unheard of, especially for a marketing company. These practices have helped our dental practices strengthen communication and have led to an average of $250,000 annually on average for our practices to grow, and also an average of 37 new referrals a month for our practices. So let's dive in. 5 secrets. As you guys know, this has been a roller coaster of a year. You've been closed, you've been open, there's been a lot of new changes, regulations at your practices, and it's always the concern of how can I end this year strong as I can and make sure that I can make up for lost months. So the common problem that you're facing right now is if you're not educating patients on what services you have of treatment, then they're going to go to somebody who does. This stat always blows my mind. 1 out of 5 of patients, 1 out of 5 leave practices for the lack of understanding. And Genevieve, you were saying that too. You know, you need to talk them through. Yeah, you need to talk them through what's going on. They don't live and breathe dentistry like we do every single day. They have no idea what we're talking about unless we educate them.
I've had patients, I have had patients come in to the offices where they got Invisalign somewhere else because they didn't know their doctor did it. Or they got veneers somewhere else because they thought they had to go to a cosmetic dentist. I mean, I've seen those actual things happen repeatedly. So I firsthand have seen this statistic in action.
That's literally the main reason why a lot of practices come to us is someone just showed off their implant that they got from another doctor, and I do implants and I want to make this stop. Please help me. Like that's the common thing that always practices are coming to us about. And it's not the patient's fault. It's the lack of education, and you have to be their trusted healthcare provider and educate them on their services that you're providing and why it benefits them with that changed mindset too. Like it's a solution. But if you're not doing this could lead to patient turnover, lack of trust, loss of income, and a decrease of treatment acceptance. So we know the problem, but what's the solution? These are the 5 secrets. So the 5 secrets, I'm going to walk you through again. We're going to talk about how to activate your automated messages for treatment plan follow-up, send out targeted emails on top of the automated messages, using video is going to be key in this to really stand out and to educate them on a whole nother level. Phone calls, like you were saying, Genevieve, this is not irrelevant. You need to make sure phone calls and text messages are still very, very powerful. And then of course, creating engaging social media posts to help draw people in to educate them as well. So the first secret is to activate automated emails and text messages. So a lot of your patient communication softwares are going to offer an automated treatment plan follow-up. And I totally get it.
It's almost always
COVID,
turned off. It's do you notice this?
You're scared.
Somebody on your team turned this off as soon as you got this product. I promise you, it's not on.
Right. We always do an audit before, right when they sign on with us, and we look and see all of the, it's like you're paying for the software, but you're not utilizing it to its full potential because you're scared, you know? And I get it, especially with COVID, you know, there's a lot of messages going out. You're losing control of your schedule, so you're going to turn things off. You need to turn that back on because your front is busy and they need to have help. And why not have help educate them automatically for them? You propose treatment, it's still open. Go ahead and communicate with emails and text messages that are doing it for you on your behalf.
Right.
And also, like I was saying earlier, how does it sound? What are the barriers that are happening? You know the barriers. It's fear, it's payment, it's time, how much time that's take off work, how long is this going to take, and authority. Can I trust you to do this type of work on me? So what we do is, so for instance, Revenue Well, in their treatment plan follow-ups, they have 5 attempts. So if you could have the same message in each attempt, or you could take each message and make it communicate to combat those barriers. So we have one that addresses, hey, you have open treatment. It's the doctor saying, you know, we talked about treatment. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited for your new smile, right? Then you have a second attempt, and that's going to talk about sedation. We offer sedation. I understand you may be scared. The common, the percentage of fear is very high, and we want to alleviate this for you. We offer sedation. Third one, average time for treatment is we have technology that's going to allow you to do it all in one day. Educate them that it's not that much time that's going to be consumed. And then of course, authority, wrap it up with showcasing reviews of patients talking about you. Say that you're certified by the ADA or AID, like brag about yourself so they know, oh, I'm not just going to get an implant. I'm going to get an implant with this doctor because I know they're the best. And then you've done the work for them. And then they come to you saying, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that you did this, this, and this, because your automations are already happening and doing that education on your behalf. So 1, activate those automated messages, make it easy on your team. The secret number 2, on top of that, you want to do targeted messaging. If you've proposed any patient with an implant or a crown, make sure that you're educating them on the benefits of that treatment. If they're not acting, it's because they're confused. They don't they're scared. Money. Combat those fears. Educate them on how it benefits their life, not just, oh, this is how we're going to do it and this is what it involves, but you're hiding your smile. We want to make you proud of that smile. We want to make you feel good. You can do this. So we always have targeted emails, and you can see our emails aren't just a email of copy, right? It's not just like a get started, we offer implants.
Right.
$500 off. Like, no, you educate them. Tell them that, show them first off that it's you. So we always have you'll see on all of our messages, we always have custom photography. So you'll see the phone numbers up at the top. They can easily talk to you or call you and act. There's a video. So not only, and I'll show you that next, not only do you talk about it in the email, but they can watch what you're talking about and really get a grasp on how it's going to benefit them. Then the biggest part of this email is that button, that schedule consultation button. You need it big, you need it loud, and you need to make it sure that it's going somewhere that the patient can act. If you're leading them to YouTube, if you're leading them to this nowhere, just a phone number, you're not guiding them to actually act, and therefore you're not setting them up for success. So that is definitely, these are the elements of an email that you need to follow in order to make sure it's the most effective. Secret number 3 are your personalized videos. So these videos, like I was saying, you can write it all you want, but when you show somebody what you're talking about, so an implant, instead of just saying that an implant is going to benefit your smile, get a patient testimonial of them talking about it. Have the doctor, not just a model out of California talking about some implant that they even practice. It's you as the doctor talking about implants and educating them, being that healthcare leader that they can trust and go to and want to get treatment done by. I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you the whole video. I'm going to skim it a little bit, but just to give you an idea of how strong a video can be to educate. Oh, maybe.
Gonna play.
There we go.
Hey, Dr. Brown here. I want you to know there's a permanent solution to missing teeth, dental implants. If you are missing a tooth or several teeth, implants can be a perfect solution for you. They will appear completely natural and function just like the teeth you used to have. If you already have or are in need of dentures, dental implants can greatly increase stability and help you function in a way that is similar to natural teeth.
There are many reasons for getting implants. One, of course, is cosmetic, because you want to look as good as you can or as long as you can. The other is functional. I've seen too many of my elderly friends with dentures having difficulty as they aged with the dentures fitting properly. With implants, I knew I would not have that problem.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. But the biggest thing, and then here at the end, there's also the call to action. So then you can make sure to end. The biggest thing we always say is don't make a video and then not give them direction on what to do next. You want to educate them on why it's important, how much time, again, any of the barriers, get a patient to actually talk on your behalf to really drive it home, and then tell them what to do afterwards. Call to book your consultation, learn more about how to book it, and then have your number nice and prominent there. That allows them to want to go ahead and, oh my gosh, look at them. They look great. They look just like me. And now, and even like before and after photos into the video.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. I think I'm alone. I'm going to do this. I want to be that person, or at least learn more. You know, they can just understand it. So videos are really going to drive it home. And we always say not just service promos, but you can talk about technology, talk about financial options, why to trust a doctor. Do this through video because you're going to stand out more than just a body of copy. They're going to be able to see it. They're going to be able to understand it. And not only when they understand it, they'll picture you as the person that taught them that. And where else do you think they're going to go other than the person that told them exactly about that procedure?
Correct.
So video is very, very strong. How we do this at High Five is Olive. And this is just, you can see the device. Basically, we have video scripts, a teleprompter running. We direct you during the shoot. So you can make sure
super cool. I've recorded a video for it before. It's pretty rad, actually. If you're a person who like that makes you nervous, I'm just going to say like the idea of recording a video makes you nervous. The team on the other side of that magic thing is so nice, and they make it so they can make you look good even if you bumble through it and look awkward.
Exactly. It's just like this. It's like we get to see you, you see yourself, and we're coaching you along the way. So you can focus on the script that's being scrolled, and we just make sure you look great and sound great. We have interaction footage. So everything that you just saw was actually shot through Olive. And the biggest thing is just like dentistry, there's combating that fear. That's what we do with video every day. So Olive allows us to do that. But whether it's through Olive or it's through your guys' phones, you need to be making videos. You need to be educating them in a different way to stand out and to really drive it home for your patients. And this stat will really help, maybe it'll help you motivate you a little bit more. But by 2022, online videos will make up more than 82% of consumer internet traffic. So if you don't think they're not going to be watching the videos, or if you're not starting now, you got to get caught up so you're not behind on it, because that is just really going to stand out. Also, secret number 4 is phone calls and text messages still work, especially text messages, but phone calls, a lot of people, they turn on the automated emails and they said, oh, it's good, I'm fine. No, they still need to hear your voice. They still need you to reach out and have that personal connection. You can use services, whether you're pulling a list from your management software. Also, like Dental Intel has great technology to pull lists. You can, it's more digestible. It's not a list of 3,000 people, but you can look at it consumably of every day and say, oh, 20 people, I can knock that out today. Yeah. And you can go after exact patients that are more high value. So we say like your implant, your crowns, to make up for those lost months, target those specific people so your schedule is more strategic. There's also when you do text messages, we always like Weave is great for that because it's so quick. But make sure to provide them with a link so you can template and weave your actual text messages.
Yes.
So like this, you can see this example. If you know they're coming in and then after you talk to them, let's say you talked about dental implants, have a template response so you don't have to craft it every time, that has a link for them to act and actually book online their next appointment and say, it's great seeing you today. If you want to learn more, check out this video about implants. Or if you want to learn more, you know, whatever, you can actually send them the video and allow them to act and be like, oh, wow, I completely forgot. So now when I go home to try to sell it to my spouse, because in office with Genevieve's tips, I feel great. I'm gonna do this. Then I go home and, you know, maybe my spouse doesn't think the same and they're asking questions and I'm like, I don't know how to respond. I just know that it works. I just know that they just told me in the office that I was confident about, and you have to trust me. So instead they can play the video and be like, this is what I want. This is why I want it. And it's a lot easier for you to be kind of outside of the office, but you're still educating, but it's through the phone instead. And then voicemail drops are a really great tool too. If you guys aren't aware of that, I feel like I'm just name dropping right now, but I'm just letting you guys know everything that's out there.
So much good technology out there.
Just all the technologies. Modento is a patient communication service that actually they do voicemail drops. So what it does is it calls for half a second and then it goes straight to your voicemail. So the patient will see that they have a missed call from your practice, and then they have a voicemail, not just from some Siri voice sounding robot. It'll be actually the doctor or the hygienist. You can record voicemails ahead of time and send it to your patients. So then it's, hey, it was great seeing you today, or what have you. Hey, it's time for your next appointment. Let's get you in, and blah, blah. You can have that script and it's your team talking to them, and you can send it all at once. So you're blasting text, you're blasting voicemail drops, and then you're pulling the right list, which help you call the right people. Take the time to actually call the right people, and see if you can get anything automated online to kind of decrease that workflow that's on your team right now. And then the last secret is social media. Social media is the best opportunity you're going to have to attract your other audience. So not only are you educating your patients, but you're also getting opportunity to expose yourself to other people that are looking for those services that you offer. If they don't know that you offer that, if you're not promoting that, then you're just a lost cause at that point, right? You got to say, I do dental implants. I'm certified in dental implants. Look at this review that I do, that they were happy about my dental implant.
And do them if people like them. Yeah.
Right, yes. Exactly. In that video that I just showed you, you push it out on through email, and then push it out through social media as well. Make sure you're promoting it, and just educating your patients on such a general platform that you have to take advantage of. So social media is definitely just one to go above and beyond. Really quick, guys, just want to tell you things not to do. And Genevieve, you kind of touched on one of these, but of course we don't want to turn off automated messages. So make sure those are turned on. They are a huge benefit to your practice. Look at the messages that are going out so you feel confident about what it's saying. Another thing that we always like to drive home, like I said earlier, is don't use stock photography. A lot of these systems already have pre-populated stock photography. It's great. It's better than nothing. But if you can just we always send out a photographer to our clients right in the beginning of their contract, so they can have personalized imagery through all their communications. The importance of this is if you use the same system as your competition down the next street or what have you, you look the same. It looks exactly the same. So you have to customize it to make sure you stand out. Because if they went to you and Dr. Joe down the road, they're not going to remember who's their dentist, and they're just going to go to the person that made it easy for them to act. So make sure you show that I'm the doctor, this is my practice, and you want to come to us. And the last thing is, don't be afraid to reach out. I always hear, Abby, they don't want to hear from me right now. We just need to let them go. Like
we're bothering them.
We're bothering them. They don't. It's just the one. If there's 5 people that complained, I totally get it. Like that's fine. But we just send it out to 2,000 people. 5 is a great number. That's exciting. Because think of all the other people that actually acted and that you actually educated and wanted that. And the reason I say that is ADA released an amazing report in September combating this concern. there is 55% of patients are ready to go. They want their appointment. 24% are recently active. They're already engaged with practices. 14% want the vaccine, and 7% just need assurance of what to do. So what I'm saying, guys, is only 14% of people are saying, I don't want to go back to the practices until vaccine. Absolutely. That's good. Stand for that. But the rest just want to be told what to do. And if you're not doing it, if you're not that healthcare provider that's being the expert and they're hearing from, they will go to the other person that is giving them that information. So make sure to put yourself out there, educate them, send those messages, and don't be afraid to do it. And listen to the feedback that the patients are giving. You can customize every patient's experience per their wants and needs. But don't restrict yourself for your whole patient base just because one patient complained. You're just making more work for your whole team when you can just customize that one patient's experience and make sure everybody else is still getting that education that they want, and make it easy for them to act. So those are my 5 secrets. I hope you guys take this in. I actually have free materials that I can send you. It's highfivepractice.com/N2020 strong. Also, Genevieve, if you want to pull up that poll.
I'm going to pull up a poll here. Yeah. The resources she has to send are actually pretty awesome. There's like templates of like examples of how to change some of these things and like scripts, and it's good stuff. I'm going to just tell you want it.
These are what we use for our clients. We know they're effective. There's email copy in there. So instead of, you're probably like, Abby, I don't even know where to start or what to do. You can start by just downloading that and implementing those tips into your practice and getting your schedules full with high value patients to help end 2020 strong. So yeah, thank you. That's everything that's included in there. And if you hit yes, I'll be sure to send it to you. And also if you want a strategy call, if you want to talk to us, because I get every practice is different. Marketing is a whole intimidating thing. There's a lot out there. We can talk to you about what's right for you too.
Right.
So I can.
Well, and I'll just say, I think that retention marketing is often just really underserved in the realm of marketing attention in a dental office. So I work with people all the time who want more new patients on the phone skills side. But if those new patients if they're just replacing patients you're losing through attrition, you're not really growing. So, for your practice to grow, retention is an essential piece of it. Otherwise, new patients are just filling in that churn. So.
It's sold out there constantly. It's just new patients are important, but we always like to say, why not have new patients that are just like the patients you have, the patients you like. They pay, they show up, they love you. Like, if you attract people that are like-minded patients, get them to get their friends and family in, and you're gonna be happier as you practice because it's gonna be more of a community that you created versus just doing outbound all the time. Focus on your current patients, give them value, and make them lifetime patients.
Abby, can you advance to our contact information?
Absolutely.
And I know we've probably eaten up a lot of people's lunch hours, but if you guys have any questions for us or anything you want to chat about, we are happy to stay on the chat and answer any questions you might have. Just feel free to throw it in the chat or send it in the Q&A, whichever one you're more familiar with in this webinar standard. Thank you for joining us, Claudia. We're happy to have you. And if you have to run and you need to just send a question our way, we'll be sending out the replay of this once we clean up the video a little bit. And so you'll have our contact information there, and you can feel free to reach out with anything that might come up, anything that might come up for you as a question after leaving today's webinar.
Oh, this was so much fun. I'm so glad you guys came and hung out with us.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a great rest of your day and happy Veterans Day. Thanks, Jill. All right. Oh, Brooke. Thanks, Brooke. All right, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, guys.